see what's happening. Hopefully some people will join. And I'm running a little bit later than usual tonight, but it's because I was out of town. I got home, had some stuff to do. So had to take care of that before I could do this. So anyway, good evening, everybody. And thank you for joining the live stream. And as people happen to hop on here, you'll see the first comment that I put was for one of our regular members. He's been a viewer of this channel for I don't know how many years now. And he is a regular on our Sunday night chats, and that is Randy Shea. Now, Randy, as many of you know, hit a real severe rough patch back in July, and he was hospitalized for a long time. And Randy has set up a GoFundMe account to help him with medical expenses and stuff like that. So that's the link that I posted there. And I would just ask if it's at all possible that you would consider at least donating to Randy's cause, because Randy's a good guy. I met him a couple of years ago, and he's just plain and simple a really good dude that hit this big health thing, and it's all detailed on his GoFundMe thing. So anyway, welcome aboard, and I guess you could say that this program tonight is for our buddy Randy Shea. Hello, George. Good evening, Michael. Hello, G-Wise. How y'all doing? I hope that everybody has had a good week and that everything's been running well in your life for everything. And boy, isn't things getting interesting. Wow. And I think all of you know what I'm talking about, right? So, yeah, things are really weird out there lately. And how about crime? Crime is on the uptick big time, especially in my area. We've had so many armed robberies, it's not even funny. It's just crazy. It's almost like central Iowa is turning into something that none of us growing up ever thought we would see. So I've had people talking to me and say, hey, look, this is changing my behavior. All the crime is changing my behavior. And this is coming from, well, in one instance, a person that carries concealed. And it is changing because of the crimes that are happening. It's changing how he thinks about how he carries. And he's constantly running through, well, what if, what if this, what if that? And he's modifying his behavior because places that originally were thought as being safe are suddenly not safe. It just so happened that yeah, well, I won't go into that, but anyway, you get my drift. Michael says, your opinion on American AKs. I haven't seen one. I have not shot one, so I can't give you an opinion on it. They're not terribly popular around here, and so some of the gun shops that were carrying them back in the day, especially when things were really hard to get a hold of, they've pretty much phased out carrying AKs just because they're not popular around these parts. And if I haven't had experience with something, I'm not going to give an opinion on something I haven't touched, so sorry. Red Sky, finally, yeah, I know. It takes time, Red Sky, for me to, A, get into the house, B, make myself a quick bite to eat, and let me tell you what, it was quick, and then see get cleaned up. So there you go. And A7 says, is that the front of an airplane behind you? Yes, it is. Thank you for observing that. And actually, that is being supported by Red Sky's favorite vacuum cleaner. So Red Sky, your vacuum cleaner, is doing something for the man cave. So yes, that is the cowling off of an airplane. And I've actually got the spinner for it around here too. But I thought it would be something different to put in the background and see who all noticed, and especially if they noticed that it was indeed the cowling off of an airplane. So good job, A7. Good job. And Red Sky says, vacuum to the rescue again. I know. You know, it just balances that thing perfectly. The only way that would be even better, Red Sky, was if it had like those go-go gadget things, you know, that make it go up there a little bit higher. It looked kind of cool. But actually, I think that I'm going to hang that up on the wall in my office at work. So there you go. George says, I'll be pounding the pavement in Jefferson City, Missouri on the 19th to help get some pro-second bills pushed through. Wish me luck. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. I know here in Iowa, just to the north of you, they're introducing some red flag laws. So we live in interesting times. As Strategic Services just pointed out, Hi Strategic Services says, hi Matt, Iowa just started a red flag bill in the House. Do you think it'll pass and whether it can govern? Well, okay. Do I think it will pass? I'm not going to take anything for granted politically in this hypercharged political season that we happen to be in. I honestly don't know, bud. I really don't. But I can tell you that I will share my opinion with the state lawmakers, and that's what I can do. As far as whether the governor will sign it, I don't know. If it was our previous governor, I would say probably not, but with our current one, I'm not sure. Again, we live in very interesting times politically, and sometimes it just seems like politicians will do whatever they feel benefits them the most. And maybe I'm a little bit naive, but I always kind of thought that being a politician meant that you represented people, not specifically self-interests, and we see a lot of that. And anybody from Iowa that wants to see it, if folks from you from Iowa happen to be watching this, and you're like, oh, you know, what are you talking about? Special interest in Iowa? We don't have any special interest. Yeah, okay. Travel outside of the state and actually strike up conversations with people that don't care for our state because of ethanol. So yeah, there are some people out there that don't like us, and part of that has to do with ethanol and what they presume as being self-interest. So it's weird politically today. So anyhow, let me go ahead and share a link with you again. The link that I just put up there is a GoFundMe thing for our friend Randy Shea. So Randy, as you all know, went through a tremendous health crisis beginning, I believe, on the 25th of July. And he was hospitalized for a long time. I actually did not realize how serious part of it was until I read the write-up on his GoFundMe page that his daughter put together, saying that he had to be put into a medically induced coma because, quite frankly, he died and he had to be resuscitated because of sepsis, which is septic shock. So, yeah. But anyway, that's the link for Randy's GoFundMe thing. Strategic Services says, I hate ethanol too. I only buy ethanol-free gas and it ain't easy to find it. Red Sky says, I hate ethanol. Runs my motorcycle. 0 turn more. Weed eater. Bad stuff. Yeah, it is getting a lot harder to get gasoline that does not have ethanol in it. Now, there's a couple of places around me that will sell it without it, but even premium has had ethanol in it in some instances. So for those of you that are of a younger crowd that happened upon this and you're like, well, what's the big deal about ethanol? If you have, or if you've had an older car, motorcycle, truck, snowmobile, anything with a gas engine, and it was older, ethanol could really do a number on that thing and mess it up. So they had to change how things were worked as far as the type of compounds used in fuel lines, gaskets, and that sort of thing. So, for ASET-7 who noticed that that's the cowling of an aircraft, there's a special fuel that airplanes use, like say 110 low lead, that is really clean. It burns extremely well, but you pay for what you get. And it's a very specialized fuel. Now, some airplanes can run with what's called an like a STC, which basically is permission to run automobile gas. And if you have an older airplane, even though there's an STC that you might have that would allow you to do something like that, it would not be something that I would necessarily want to do. Can you save money on gas? Yes, but if you happen to ruin an engine repairs on even the smallest of small planes are very expensive, and you're talking at least $100 an hour for labor, which, believe it or not, is cheaper than a lot of mechanics charge to work on a car. But still, everything airplane related is hyper expensive. So there you go. Okay. And Strategic Services says, only buy premium. It runs better and better miles per gallon to make up for the difference. Shell charges 70 cents more for premium. Yeah, premium is more expensive, but it is one of those things where you get what you pay for. When Iowa first came up with, what is it, kind of get my terminology turned around on this. So like the E85 or the E15, the one that had all the tax benefits to it. So, I mean, for a while it was ridiculously cheap, where you could get like a gallon of this stuff, which was basically mostly ethanol. You could get it for $1.50, $1.60, $1.70 a gallon. And that was back when everything was, $4 a gallon. However, your gas mileage really suffered on that. So what Strategic Services is alluding to is, again, you get what you pay for. You run something like premium, you generally get better performance, higher miles per gallon, and it just works very well, and overall tends to be better on your engine. Red Sky says we can get 90 octane non-ethanol at a few stations around here, about $1 more a gallon. Yeah, it's not that expensive around here. It kind of depends. There's times where, it might be 50 cents more, 60, 70. but not a buck more a gallon. But it depends where you live in the country, because um, yeah, there are people that live close to the Missouri border. Since George happens to be living in Missouri, uh, there are people that will go from Iowa to Missouri because they can get cheaper gasoline, and they can get uh, other stuff cheaper just because of the way that our taxes are here in Iowa. So some people can benefit from that. Now, I haven't seen Randy on here. I exchanged a couple of text messages, but the poor guy basically has been forced to pretty much sell off everything. And before I went on the air tonight, I let Randy know that I was going to be running a few minutes late. And he told me that what he was doing at the time was supervising somebody moving his gun safe because he was selling it. So he's had to divest himself of basically all of his possessions because of the extreme medical bills that he's gone through. So, and a lot of us Americans are just literally one medical emergency away from having a serious issue. So please keep Randy in your thoughts and prayers. And also my friend Mike, who a few weeks ago you heard on the channel here, he happened to have his own medical emergency just a couple of weeks ago. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers as well. Both are really good guys, really solid. George says, I live in Howell County, right on the state line with Arkansas. Cool. Well, at least your temperature's down there a lot better than what we've got up here right now. But that's pretty country down there where you live, George. Back in the day, my mother and I went down to Little Rock quite a bit. So we drove through the Ozark Mountains a lot, an awful lot. So all that aside, how's everybody doing? Hey, there's Evan. Hi, Evan. So come on, people. How's your week been? Everybody had a good time? Had some fun? I know we kind of had the ice follies here in Iowa. This week, it's kind of like central Iowa got stuck in the middle of a couple of storm systems. I mean, snow, 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 but yeah, we got a little bit of rain, and then we experienced what was called a flash freeze. So going to work the other day, it was Wednesday morning. Boy, that was tricky, man. I mean, there was just solid ice. There were people off of the roads like crazy. It took everybody by surprise. So basically what happened was we were above freezing. We were getting rain. And then suddenly this cold front comes and just literally punches through, drops us below zero, like literally within a few hours, and that made the flash freeze. So it was literally like the ice follies going to work. RCWCK, using E85 in a regular car will no doubt burn it up. Injectors and fuel pressure can't keep up. Yeah. Iowa photos. I drove like 450 miles today. Holy guacamole, Batman. That's a lot to be driving. But And what can I say, dude? We've done that before too, so I guess I can't really, I can't check. Check your Facebook. Okay. Evan's making me look. What is it, Evan, with you and dams? I mean, literally, this guy loves dams. So we have this big dam, DAM, that is just to the northeast of Knoxville. It's called Red Rock. And Evan goes there a lot. And now I see that he's gone to a different one. And let's see, you've been to Hoover Dam. Holy cow. You're just going all over the place. Well, that's okay. I can't really say anything because I got some miles in today as well. Except my miles were different than yours, Evan. George says, like I said before, ethanol is just about perfect mixing it. No, George. We can't talk about stuff like that. Yes, Evan, you've got some really cool photos up there. But like I said, Evan really loves dams for some reason. And Evan, you'll probably like this a lot because, pardon me, I wolfed down my food a little bit too quickly before coming online tonight. Okay, Evan, next weekend it's supposed to be in the 50s. So there you go. Hey, there's Ringo. Hey, Ringo. How's it going? And Iowa Photo said if I had a radio, dude, I had my phone with me. You could have talked to me. Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, Evan, you think that that'd go on my office wall, okay? I mean, seriously. What do you think? That would like complete my wall at the office, right? You've been to my office, right? So what do you think? Think that'd be a good idea, Evan? I mean, you know, ASAT 7 picked up on it, that it's a cowling for an airplane. Oh, you think so, Evan? Well, I don't have that, but be back in a minute. Okay. How about this, Evan? I actually even have the attachment point for it, so that could go right there. So, see, wouldn't that be cool? All kinds of swag for the man cave, for the Mac cave, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah. Oh, and I know I've talked to some of you folks about it before, and sometimes people don't believe me, but this here kind of glares. Okay. Circular slide rule. So this is called an E6B, and so this is a circular slide rule that I believe that I've had this since about 1978. So it's used to compute time, speed, distance, density, altitude. On this side, you can actually even take a pencil, do a little bit of plotting. You know, this was how you would plot courses. This was before computers got into aviation. So you would actually plot courses based off of this. So not sure how well this shows up, but true heading, left drift, right drift, compass marks, and if I can show this to you, this actually allows you to rotate it, and based off of your speed, you would draw a point, and then you would figure in-air corrections for time, speed, distance, and stuff like that. So anyway, circular slide rule. Don't leave home without it. All right. Ringo says, I think you should mount it to the ceiling and stick a fan in it. It would be kind of interesting, wouldn't it? Except the spinner is for a two-blade propeller. So, but I do have the mounting plate for it, so it could work. It definitely make for a conversation piece, wouldn't it? So, yeah. Well, the cowling needs to be cleaned up a little bit, though. Oh, that's a bad joke, Evan. People could join the fan club. Seriously, dude? Yeah. Wow. That's all I got to say, man. It's just wow. Fan club. Okay, well, you heard it here first. Iowa Photos, good old Evan comes up with the fan club. Ringo says mount the thing to the ceiling and get the old prop spinning and use it as a fan. Well, I know where I could get a propeller for it. That'd be interesting. Oh my. Okay. Still have not heard anything back from Randy. So I hope that everything's going okay for him. See if there's anything I missed out on here. Nope, not really. Okay, so what else? Talk about the crime rate here lately. What's been going on there? Some of the conversations I've had with people about it. And I mean, people are really getting worried because what we have going on here in Des Moines is we have a ton of gang-related violence. And literally, it is getting worse every day. And so this is causing some people to really worry about their physical well-being and safety and changing their habits, where they shop. It's like this one fellow pointed out to me was he goes to this particular pharmacy, and generally in the mid part of the day, anybody that goes to a pharmacy normally thinks that that's fairly safe. I mean, can't say that I ever worried whenever I had to go into a pharmacy to pick up some medication. Now you do, because there's a bunch of criminals running around and they're knocking off pharmacies. And it just so happened that this individual had been to the pharmacy maybe about an hour before it happened. And it's got him a little bit edgy, thinking that there's a place that that normally would be safe for him and his family to go to. So, but I don't know. Okay, what else do we have going on here? Hey, there's Charles. Hello, Charles. Charles says, okay, I got to ask, what's the thing behind you? That is actually a cowling from the front end of an airplane. And sitting right beside it is a spinner that used to be in front of the cowling that held a propeller. So that's what it is. And Strategic Services is talking about the police chief in Des Moines, and things are definitely different than when they were in the, what was it, the late 1980s or was it 1990s? And what I mean by that is we had an uptick in gang violence here in Des Moines in the 80s to the 90s. And one day there was a shootout, happened in the middle of the day. It was literally across the street. An innocent woman was just driving a car, making a turn. She got caught in the crossfire, and unfortunately, she was killed. And at that point, the Des Moines Police Department did a major crackdown on gang violence. And so it really went downhill quickly. And by downhill, I mean the amount of reported gang violence dropped because their enforcement actions increased dramatically. Now, even though there's all kinds of prosecutions and arrests and everything made, the sheer number of gangs that are operating in Des Moines is crazy. Even in my town, where I live, where normally people would have thought there would be no way that there would be any kind of gang violence. There was a drive-by shooting a few years ago, right over here, block and a half away. And then also tragically, a Urbandale police officer lost his life. Des Moines police officer lost his life. There was a man just, I want to say about a year and a half ago or so, an older gentleman that died from his injuries due to a home invasion at 4:30 in the morning. And, those are just some people that have been affected by gang violence. But gang violence has been really increasing at an alarming rate, and that has got a lot of people very worried. And what do you do? I mean, obviously, as a citizen, when you're talking about your own personal security, there's certain common sense things that you can do. One is lock your doors, lock your cars, have lights. Have lights on the outside of your house, your garage. Some people have been even putting up lights around their fencing because, lights do help to deter the criminal element because they prefer to sneak around a lot. But when crime happens during the day, there's not a whole lot that you can do about that. So, okay, what have I missed out on? Let's see. Charles says, looks sort of like a guy I saw in Roswell, New Mexico. What the? Oh, you're talking about the cowling. No. No, actually, now that I think about it, do you remember the original, I mean, the old original War of the Worlds? And if you could use a little bit of imagination, that could look like that doohickey that kind of like came out and, had the three eyes or whatever it was, but that guy looks like it. So there you go. Red Sky says, Cowling begs the question, where's the rest of the plane? In a hangar. Red Sky says, if Leos get the backup of the population in courts, they can clean up areas. No cooperation, no clean. Yep, that I understand. Red Sky says, how close do you all keep a protective device? Well, I have one, but it's off camera because it can't be on camera on YouTube anymore. So there you go. And Strategic Services brought up something that happened during the day a while ago. A grandmother in Des Moines left her granddaughter in the car at a store, and the child was shot in the head from a stray bullet. Yeah. I like Strategic Services humor. Sleep with Glock stick. Yeah, for those things that go bump in the night, go Glock. Wait a second. They could use that like an advertisement, couldn't they? Interesting. Or you could have the hanging propeller fan thing, courtesy of whoever thought about it, and then at some point it detects an intruder, the pitch changes on the prop, and it drops. So you get prop drop. And that causes the crime rate to drop. Charles says every household in Kennesaw, Georgia is required to have a gun in their home. This is true. And also, what is their crime rate? Basically zip, because the bad guys know that everybody's required to have a gun in their house. And because of that, they generally won't mess with it. Pardon me 1 second. Okay, give me a drink of water because I kind of chewed down my food a little bit too quick. Be right back, okay? Thank you for excusing me there for a moment. Let's see if I missed anything. Let's see. RCWCK says 2020 SHOT Show interests. Not really. I didn't go to SHOT Show, but the coverage that I saw about it, there really wasn't anything that that interested me. Okay, strategics. Oh, seems like red dots are the thing. True, especially when it comes to handguns. I think that that's going to change the paradigm a little bit for us. Hang on just a second. I've got to blow my nose now. This is lovely. Okay, red dot optics on handguns. I think that that's going to become a bigger thing because of the changes in technology. I mean, literally 30, 40 years ago, did we have any kind of a red dot? No, nothing that was economical, certainly nothing that was going to end up on a handgun at that point in time. And now with the more advanced, milling and machining that we have available, as well as kind of sort of the complex mathematics that goes between how much mass is on a slide versus, the type of round that's in there to get it to work with added mass, like a red dot on top of it, getting the red dot to survive the impact of cycling through that firearm. I mean, that's actually pretty impressive. So you couple that with a population that has either aging eyes because we're getting older and we don't see things quite the way that we used to, or younger eyes that, are this far away from a little bitty screen, and it makes it harder to focus because, I mean, literally, focusing is about muscles pulling on a lens, stretching it. And if, like any other muscle in your body, if it doesn't get exercised, then what happens? It atrophies or it gets used to a particular thing. So you could be doing a repetitive motion, and this repetitive motion, you're rock solid and everything's great. The moment that you move right outside of that realm, then suddenly things either don't work or they go ouch and things get grumpy. So I think red dot optics is a wave of the future. All right, what else we got? Strategic says Newberger 5.7 is half the price than FN, great stopping power. Yeah, FN's always been really expensive on that. Okay, Evan, but your red dot that you're referring to is a laser. James says the red dot sights got me all excited. You just can't find them for sale except the SIG. Yeah, the red dot that I have on a pistol, on a Glock actually, is a 1 MOA Trijicon. And I have to say, I really like that. I like it a lot. That is just good, solid, I'd almost say bulletproof, but that's just kind of like a play on words. The only thing is if you're going to use them, you do need to train with them. Oh, Evan, you're being silly. RCWCK, seen David versus Goliath with CT? No, I have not. I'll look for it after the show's over. Well, Randy, buddy, if you're out there tonight, we're all thinking about you. I have not been able to get an answer out of Randy, so hopefully he's okay. But I do know that he's had to be getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff. CWCK says G44 LOL. Yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me about the Glock 44. I think for training purposes, okay. Am I going to go out and buy one? No, I'm not going to. Charles says, hope Matt's okay. What? I'm here. What do you mean, hope Matt's okay? Are you talking about Randy? Randy's been going through a bunch of stuff. So for those of you that don't know, let me just read what his daughter wrote on their GoFundMe thing. So this is written from his daughter, and it says, hello all. I would like to share with you my dad's, Randy's story, and explain why I'm asking for some help from him. Last July 25th, my dad went to the ER for severe back and chest pain. Through rigorous testing, they found that he had a thoracic aortic aneurysm with dissection. He was extremely lucky that he went in when he did and that he lives in Las Vegas, Nevada, where a great team of doctors were able to help him. Over 90% of the time, the first symptom of that is death. He spent a few weeks in the cardiac ICU. More follow-up testing was done. When things started to look like he might finally get to go home, a bowel blockage was found. This led to surgery and the discovery of stage 3 colon cancer, possibly higher dependent upon further testing. I went down there to visit him at this point. Things were looking to start improving with his overall health, and I returned home. This is speaking of his daughter. Hours after I arrived back in Montana, I received a phone call. Things had taken a sudden turn for the worse, and that he had to be resuscitated and intubated, and they were fighting to get him stable while trying to figure out what had caused him to crash. They did emergency surgery and found that bowel surgery that they had done hadn't held, and he had gone into septic shock and it was shutting down his organs. This led to him being in a medically induced coma for a week, while having surgery every other day to clean infection out. A total of 4 surgeries that week, and having to go through 2 rounds of fast dialysis to clean his blood of the infection. My dad, speaking of Randy, is a survivor though, and pulled through. The infection was severe enough it wiped out his memory of the weeks prior to him crashing. The last solid memory he had is going into the emergency room. In mid-September, he was well enough to be transferred from the hospital to a rehab facility. He had lost over 60 pounds and was no longer strong enough to walk on his own. With one more surgery in November, he was still improving. Then, just a few days before Thanksgiving, he was cleared to go home for the first time since July. He was still in rough shape, but at least he was at home. He had to have a nursing service come help him the first few weeks. It goes without saying he was forced into early retirement, as no doctor will clear him to go back to work. The real punch with that is his benefit package for retirement was also greatly reduced because he missed fulfilling his 20-year mark by less than a month. Medical bills are rolling in faster than he can begin to imagine, and his medical journey is far from over. He has an appointment on February 13th for a full-body PET scan to see exactly where the cancer is and if it has spread. So now he has an oncologist, radiologist, a port placement for upcoming chemotherapy and further tests, and still is trying to get set up with a cardiologist as he'll need annual heart tests done to make sure that his heart condition has not worsened. Due to not being actively employed, he has to pay insurance premiums out of pocket and all of his deductibles up front. The last appointment for the port placement to pay for the PET scan was $1,435.82 alone. His savings has been used and he's in a serious financial situation. My dad has always lived below his means and kept his bills to a minimum, but this has wiped him out. He has already sold a good deal of the few possessions that he had, any real monetary value, so he could keep up on his current medications. He's never been one to ask anyone for anything and has always been the first to offer help. Knowing that he would never ask for help even now, I am on his behalf, speaking of his daughter. The cost of even a simple appointment is almost too much. He also has the cost of chemo and possibly radiation ahead of him. I humbly ask for any donations, prayers, good thoughts, or anything else that might help him. I thank you all in taking the time and reading this and letting me share a part of his story with you. His daughter, Andrea. So there you have it. That's what's been going on with our buddy, Randy. So, anyway, that's what's up with Randy. Longtime viewer of this channel, overall good guy, real solid. Type of guy that you hate to see anything like that happen to. So he does have this GoFundMe thing that his daughter set up. And I'm going to go ahead and post it here one more time. So if anybody, wants to help Randy out, there's the link. And like I said, there's times in life where we go through stuff that is beyond our control. Nobody dials the number called 1-800-CANCER or 1-800-HEART-ATTACK or 1-800-DIABETES or 1-800 anything else and wants something bad to happen to them. They just simply, the average person wants to go through life, live life, enjoy family and friends, and be able to work. And at the moment, our friend Randy is alive, but he can't work, and he's in a tough spot. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end tonight's broadcast on that because tonight's program is more about Randy than it is anything else. He's a good guy, and I hate to see bad things happen to my viewers. I know that it's life. I know that these things do happen. Doesn't mean that I have to like it. I hate seeing things like that happen to good people. And Randy's one of the good ones. So, with that said, good night. God bless. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.